My name is Joe Igbo. A Nigerian domestic carrier, Ibom Air, has placed a travel ban on one Comfort Emmanson for assaulting members of the airline's Uyo-Lagos flight crew at the Lagos airport on Sunday. No fewer than 8 persons have been killed in a flood disaster in Kpoghirikpo, an ancient kingdom of Itim community in Afikpo local government area of Ebonyi state. The Anambra State Governor, Professor Soludo, has flagged up the construction of St. Stephen's Road, inland town in Onitsha. And the Ekiti State Governor, Mr. Ebonyi, has dissolved the State Executive Council, retaining only 6 commissioners. Now the details of the news. A Nigerian domestic carrier, Ibom Air, has placed a travel ban on one Comfort Emmanson for assaulting members of the airline's Uyo-Lagos flight crew at the Lagos airport on Sunday. In a statement yesterday, the airline said the unruly passenger won't be permitted to fly on any of its aircraft from now on. Ibom Air said the passenger was removed from the ramp and taken into custody by Federal Airports Authority of Fan Security and handed over to the Nigeria Police Force for further investigation. Viral videos showed Emmanson lashing slaps on one of the airline's flight attendants, even as security officials tried to restrain her. The airline said shortly before takeoff from Uyo, Emmanson was instructed to switch off her mobile phone. Ibom Air said she bluntly refused to comply until the pilot in command made an announcement, after which a fellow passenger seated beside her took the phone and switched it off. The action prompted a series of verbal attacks from Emmanson. The situation was eventually calmed and the flight departed as scheduled. Upon arrival in Lagos, Ms. Emmanson waited for all other passengers to disembark and then proceeded to confront the purser who had earlier instructed her. She walked up to the unsuspecting purser, stepped on her, forcibly tore off her wig, removed her glasses and threw it to the floor, and used her footwear to assault her. The statement further said Emmanson slapped the purser several times, and when the other cabin crew member tried to intervene, she slapped her too. She then attempted to forcibly remove a fire extinguisher to use as a weapon, an act that could have damaged and grounded the aircraft. The arrival of Ibom Air security personnel did not deter the passenger, as she attacked them as well, lashing out violently at both Ibom Air and Fan Security. She was then restrained and removed from the aircraft by force. Even after disembarking, she continued to assault both Ibom Air and Fan Security staff, and even slapped the ground supervisor. The Ibom Air incident comes days after Fuji musician Wasiu Ayinde, popularly known as Kwan, was banned by the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority (NCAA) for 6 months over his unruly behavior at the Abuja airport last Tuesday. Meanwhile, the Airline Operators of Nigeria (AON) has imposed a no-fly life ban on a female passenger, Comfort Emmanson, who allegedly assaulted airline officials on an Ibom Air flight inbound Lagos from Uyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital. The AON, in a statement by its spokesperson, Obi Reacts, said the ban on Emmanson from flying with any AON member, either domestically or internationally, for life takes immediate effect. It also said anyone who exhibited such behavior going forward would suffer a similar consequence. While condemning the action of the passenger, the group said it constituted one of the most severe cases of unruly passenger behavior witnessed in 2025. AON said Emmanson's action was not just disruptive, it was a sustained violent attack that placed the lives of crew, passengers, and the integrity of the aircraft itself at risk. The AON commended the airline for its swift and professional handling of the incident, adding that it fully endorsed the actions taken against Emmanson, who was a passenger on Ibom Air flight Q9303. In another development, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the 2023 elections, Mr. Peter Obi, has faulted the arraignment and remand of Comfort Emmanson, a female passenger of the Ibom Air flight inbound Lagos from Uyo, who was accused of assault and unruly behavior. Obi, in a statement posted on his official X handle, said that while her behavior towards the airline's crew members should not be condoned, justice should be fair, equal, and not selective. The former Anambra State governor, while making a veiled reference to the incident involving a Fuji artist, Wasiu Ayinde, popularly known as K1 The Ultimate, at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja last week, said, "It is unacceptable that Emmanson was hurriedly taken to court and remanded, while someone who visibly held a plane from taking off and put hundreds of lives at risk is still at large," with government agencies and some state officials speaking up for him to be forgiven. Mr. Obi said this case is not just about one young woman, it is about the double standards that poison our justice system. He said that while Ms. Comfort Emmanson is in jail, the other offender who committed a more severe offense has not been held to account under the same standard. He has neither been arrested nor arraigned in any court. The former Anambra State governor also condemned what he described as the dehumanizing treatment meted out to Emmanson, saying that stripping her publicly was not only unnecessary, but also represents the height of rascality and abuse by our security agencies. No fewer than 8 persons have been killed in a flood disaster in Kpoghirikpo, an ancient kingdom of Itim community in Afikpo local government area of Ebonyi state. The incident, triggered by heavy downpour, is said to have affected over 800 farmlands and 3,000 households, creating a major displacement crisis within the community. Residents said the flood disaster resulted in the loss of a mother and her 4 children, as a search and rescue team from the community was able to rescue 4 other children alive. Meanwhile, 4 bodies have been recovered and buried, while search efforts continue for those who are still missing. With over 800 farmlands destroyed, 3,000 households rendered homeless and hopeless, it is a severe blow to the local economy and the livelihoods of the residents. Responding to the flood incident, the Ebonyi State Commissioner for Human Capital Development, Anne Aligwe, advised people living in low-lying flood-prone zones to relocate to safer areas provided by the Ebonyi State government as the rains continue. The Anambra State Governor, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, has flagged off the construction of St. Stephen's Road, inland town in Onitsha. Speaking at the event attended by traditional rulers and residents, Soludo described Onitsha as the state's biggest investment hub, requiring sustained infrastructure upgrades to retain its economic appeal. The governor said his administration had focused on environmental cleanup and road projects since taking office, citing past desilting works, clearing of refuse dumps, and rehabilitation of slum areas. Soludo insisted that he was more focused on working for the betterment of the people than campaigning for elections, adding that his achievements are there for all to see. Scores of bandits have been reportedly killed in a series of coordinated airstrikes by the air component of Operation Fasanyama on Makakkari Forest in Zamfara State. This is contained in a statement by the Director of Public Relations and Information, Nigeria Air Force Air Commodore Ehimen Ejodame, yesterday in Abuja. According to him, intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance (ISR) confirmed movements of over 400 bandits planning to invade a farming community. He said the operation involved precision airstrikes and ground assaults, resulting in the deaths of several notorious kingpins and scores of their foot soldiers. Ejodame said the synergy between air and land components made the operation exceptional. Armed groups called bandits by locals have for years been terrorizing communities in northwest and north-central Nigeria, raiding villages, kidnapping residents for ransom, and burning homes after looting them. cattle rustling and kidnapping have become huge money makers in the largely impoverished countryside. Groups also levy taxes on farmers and artisanal miners. The Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB, has warned that it will not approve admissions for the 2024 and 2025 academic sessions in any tertiary institution that fails to submit its matriculation list. A few years ago, the Federal Ministry of Education mandated all tertiary institutions to submit these lists to JAMB as part of efforts to curb the growing problem of illegal admissions. Speaking during a meeting with admission desk officers, the Registrar of JAMB, Professor Ishakoloide, directed that institutions which fail to submit their matriculation list for the 2022 and 2023 admissions should not have their admissions approved for the 2024 and 2025 admission exercises. Oloide warned that the board would make erring institutions scapegoats, with appropriate sanctions to be announced in due course. The Federal High Court in Abuja has ordered the remand of 5 suspected terrorists accused of carrying out the June 5, 2022 attack on St. Francis Catholic Church, Owo, Ondo State, in the custody of the Department of State Services. Vacation Judge Justice Emeka Nwite gave the order after the suspects were arraigned and pleaded not guilty to charges brought against them by the federal government. The defendants, who have been in custody for 3 years, are Idris Omeiza, 25, Al Qasim Idris, 20, Jamiu Abdul Malik, 26, Abdul Halim Idris, 25, and Momo Otuho Abubakar, 47. The June 5, 2022 attack left over 40 worshippers dead and more than 100 others injured. The Office of the Attorney General of the Federation is prosecuting the case on behalf of the federal government. The Ekiti State Governor Biodun Oyebanji has dissolved the State Executive Council, retaining only 6 commissioners. A statement by the Secretary to the State Government, Professor Habibat Adubiaro, said the dissolution took immediate effect. The governor directed the affected commissioners and special advisors to hand over to the permanent secretary or the most senior civil servant in their respective ministries, departments, and agencies. Oyebanji thanked the outgoing cabinet members for their service and wished them success in their future endeavors. To end the Sapientia TV news at 1 p.m., a recap of the major headlines. A Nigerian domestic carrier, Ibom Air, has placed a travel ban on one Comfort Emmanson for assaulting members of the airline's Uyo-Lagos flight crew at the Lagos airport on Sunday. No fewer than 8 persons have been killed in a flood disaster in Kpoghirikpo, an ancient kingdom of Itim community in Afikpo local government area of Ebonyi State. The Anambra State Governor, Professor Soludo, has flagged off the construction of St. Stephen's Road inland town in Onitsha. And finally, the Ekiti State Governor, Biodun Oyebanji, has dissolved the State Executive Council, retaining only 6 commissioners. That was the Sapientia TV news at 1 p.m. On behalf of the editorial and technical crew, I am Joe Igbo. Good afternoon and thanks for choosing TV Sapientia.